Hello everyone, my name's Kazé, and I'm an introvert. In a world conquered by extroverts, you may have trouble understanding these delicate creatures and their perceived austere behaviors. Now, you've probably heard the terms introvert and extrovert before, and you probably have some general idea of what you identify as. However, in this video, we're really going to try to dig in a little bit further into what it means to be an introverted person. Hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have a greater understanding about how we think, act, and make plans. Before we begin, I would just like to say that I am in no way an expert on the human psyche, nor am I stating be-all end-all facts on introversion. I'm simply going by my own tendencies as an introvert, as well as my own observations and research. A lot of people are extroverts, or at least a combination of introvert and extrovert, perhaps an introverted extrovert or an extroverted introvert, or at least at some point they're heading towards one end of the spectrum or the other. However, I'm sure you've noticed that extroversion is always included in there in one way or another. Rarely do you ever see someone who sits completely at the introverted end of the spectrum. To be introverted simply means that you get the most in your own mental energy from being alone. First things first though, introvert does not mean shy. I mean, some introverts could be shy, but shy is not a synonym for introvert, so stop it. The term shy implies that being around people makes us nervous, and that's not the case with introverts. More often than not, you walk up to an introvert and say hi, you can have a good conversation. We are more than capable of socializing, we just would rather not. A scientist named Anna Fisherman did an experiment on introverts and extroverts, measuring the brainwave response to pictures of human faces and inanimate objects. The extroverts seemed to have a higher response whenever a picture of a human face popped up. The introverts, on the other hand, did not have a higher or a lower brainwave response in seeing an inanimate object or a human face. This is not to say that introverts hate people, we just don't find them as interesting or stimulating. So how does this explain that whole drain out thing that introverts seem to get? Well, being social involves engagement. We have to pay attention to everything the person says, come up with responses, and be interested. And for introverts, that takes up a lot of mental energy. How do I describe this? It's a lot like you're cramming for an exam, and you're trying to read 10 chapters in one night. That can be exhausting, overwhelming, and maybe a little bit boring, right? Well, for an introvert, that's what it's like. So yes, it can be very draining, so much so that it comes to the point where we need to take a break. And that brings me to the next point, recharge. What I think most people don't get about introverts is that we are constantly in our own mind. Most introverts are very creative. They may like to write or pursue some other crafts like music or visual arts, like myself. And the reason that we like doing that so much is because it gets our brains going. It makes our imaginations just sort of pop. There's like fireworks going off when we do these creative things. Same thing goes for reading. When you're reading a book, you just sort of let your imagination take control. And for an introvert, that's awesome. Creating all these little pictures in your head, then you write little fanfics or you draw pictures, it's just so cool. The introvert's friend is their own mind. It's a place where they feel the most at home, comfortable, and safe. And when we're alone, we're allowed to be in that place, without any distractions or input from the world around us. This is why we value alone time so much. Just because we're alone doesn't mean we're lonely. If anything, we're heavily occupied. It's just all stuff up here that you can't see. Just thought I'd sprinkle on a couple of more things about introverts in terms of planning and thought processes. Because introverts are in their own minds far more than often, our thought process seems to be a little bit more organized, thorough, careful. We take a lot of time to ponder actions and the consequences of said actions. We also tend to be a little bit more critical of mistakes, and we take fewer risks. This isn't to say that introverts don't know how to have fun, but an introvert's idea of fun might be a little different from yours. Maybe an intimate tabletop game or a rousing discussion on TV show conspiracy theories. So my extroverted friends, this is what I want you to do if possible. Search for introverts. Befriend them. Sure, they're not gonna want to hang out as often, but they'll keep you in line by making you consider all your options, and if it's really worth it to do that one thing that's really dangerous, or they'll entertain you with their complex stories or their vivid, beautiful works of art. Seriously, an introvert's mind is like a little treasure chest. Do not deprive yourself of that variety in life. For my introverts, well, I've got a whole video written for you. You just stay tuned. I hope you got something out of this video. I know it wasn't horrendously funny like all my other ones, but I think making videos like this helps make the world a better place, even if just a little bit. In the comments down below, tell me, what do you identify as? Are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? Are you a combination of the two? Are you a gust in the wind? I don't know. Also, if you liked the video, please give it a like. Let's try to get to 10 likes, guys. 10 likes as always. Hopefully we can try to share this video around about how introverts work. And you can do that by liking the video. And if you like me and happen to want to see more of me, you can subscribe. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, I'll see you later.